Oh my gosh, Jim, look at all your notes. We're gonna be here a while.
No, we're not.
Okay. When I see 13, I start to get nervous. And then when I see Jim has a whole notebook, I get even more nervous.
Do you have an iPhone charger?
I'm not on it.
Okay. I don't either. I've got 10% of battery. And I want to just show you guys.
I literally had one in my purse this morning and I think I took it out.
Gus used mine to tie up a couple trucks together.
Good.
Morning.
Gotta love kids.
We might as well have this in the meeting.
Do we have moments or we?
Just
A couple of minutes.
Oh my gosh.
read this thread after that's to Mayhill. After town meeting, I called him. I sent you guys an email.
Yeah, I saw the
He
email.
wanted some photographs. Those are the photographs, and then you'll see the comment at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's as sweet and kind as you can be.
It certainly is. I think that's the right approach.
Tried to have a nice blunt edge to it.
And I didn't look very hard, but I had a doctor's appointment this morning. When I came back down the hill, I noticed that it was a little bit neater in front.
Well, we had a meeting one night and somebody had asked me if the RV was gone. No. And I said, yes, the RV was gone. And then it was back. And I was like, like 24 hours, you don't know.
Things can change. His RV?
I think it's someone that's working for him, right?
Someone that's,
I don't know, but.
It's someone who's working for him, but I heard from someone else that he doesn't actually do that much work.
Yeah. It's clear he doesn't do that much work.
Okay. And I didn't look at the side, which is where some of that's at. The front of it was a little more neatened up, I thought.
Yeah, the sides and back are just a mess.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
and the Playhouse was for a while too, quite a while actually. But they had like 150 people working to clear the stuff out of the Playhouse.
Well, it was a short period of time.
Yeah, over a short period, yeah.
And it's
I feel bad for him too, though.
Well, that's it. It's his property. I mean, he should be able to do what he wants to do, but at the same time, the concern of flooding and that stuff getting picked up and carried down.
You can't have a junkyard in a flood zone, so we could.
Really? There you go.
I would not want to mess with the ladies of Weston.
I wouldn't mess with Mayhill's wife either.
Well, that's true.
Well, bit my tongue long enough. Man owns land, pays taxes.
Yep.
And just because he's got some stuff out there, I think there's more important stuff in town that needs to be taken care of than a load of rubbish around his establishment.
Yeah. It's his property. He can do what he wants with it. And, we can make suggestions, but it's, he's the property owner.
I agree 100%. And I think it was very nice that he was willing to address it without being grumpy.
We'll call a meeting to order.
Recording in progress.
Yeah. That was my error. It just the first of the month, so
yeah. Okay, no problem. Changes to the agenda. Will's not on the agenda, but he's asked to be heard. So why don't we take care of him so he doesn't have to sit here all night?
Wow.
Perfect.
I think everybody.
He's welcome to sit here all night.
No. I think everybody knows there's a house on Hell's Peak Road that's way too tall.
Yes.
There's for technical reasons, I have to do a new notice of violation and then they can appeal or not appeal. They asked if we wanted to mediate and the board felt they did not want to mediate. Interestingly, this house would have been legal in 1983, but the rule was changed in 1983 to be much stricter than anywhere else in Vermont. Probably should be somewhere in the middle. But we're gonna enforce it as it's written, unless Merrill says, the lawyer says we're crazy. And I just wanted to check with you before we, before I did the notice of violation.
Is there an outstanding notice of violation now?
Not really. I told them that they were in violation and that they could apply for a variance, a special exception, a special exemption for height. But the board felt the special exemption would only apply to the cupola and not apply to the structure, which is too tall. And the fire department, one part of my thinking was that there was a deck on the back. So really, if you jumped out of a window, you weren't jumping 3 stories. But the fire department said the deck could easily collapse in a fire. And that would be very bad. So I don't see any reason not to pursue the notice of violation.
And that is there a lot of creativity in writing that, or is it just fill in the blanks?
It's fill in the blank.
Okay.
Did Merrill ask you to fill?
Merrill asked if we wanted to see a mediator, and the board said no.
So
And she said to do a notice of violation.
Okay, that's what I need.
For some technical reason, the letters I sent them before couldn't be appealed to the environmental court.
So I'm going to move, we authorize Will to write up a notice of violation to the property in question.
There are some other outstanding violations that I don't know if you want to just touch briefly on those.
Is there a second to this?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'd like to hear more.
You don't want to.
So there'll be discussion.
There's discussion.
Okay.
Afterwards. All right. Now,
Hold on. He hasn't seconded it
Oh,
yet.
but I will. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
now, the other violations, do they have to do with what we're talking about or something different?
Something different.
All right, stay on this subject for now.
Yep.
All right.
And just to be clear,
DRB.
because I'm ready to, I'll be glad to withdraw my motion, but the other violations aren't, they're not going to be subject to a notice of violation.
That's what I was going to ask, but they're at a different property.
So
Well, let's just do this.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was
Okay.
getting.
Is the DRB behind us authorizing you to, that's what
They're
would,
hardcore. They're like,
Yes.
that's one of the problems is at first I said, well, the house is built, you know, how crazy can we go? And that's what Merrill, the lawyer, said. The house is built, how crazy can you get? But they're saying they want the house backfilled, so it's the right height.
I get it. Okay, so the DRB is behind this as well. Okay.
How are you good at some questions?
Well, yeah, I was vaguely familiar with this just from hearing about it and reading stuff before about this height thing. But was it, did they do it maliciously? Or in
That's
full
not for
knowledge?
us to-
Well,
That's not for us to,
Yeah, yeah,
it is sort of, it does affect our legal position because the application was for a 30-foot house.
right.
And the house is, I think, 30. Anyways, it's 13 feet taller than that. No, it's 18 feet taller than what they said on the application. And the limit is 35 feet. We don't give exemptions for cupolas, although we should. So they don't really have much of a leg to stand on. They did submit some elevations with no numbers on them. So if I had measured the height of the doors and multiplied, I could have calculated that it was too tall. But I don't think I'm expected to do that. So they don't really have a leg to stand on, but is it reasonable to make them backfill the foundation? That's above my pay grade, I guess.
And that's up to the DRB.
No, that's up to the environmental court, and that could take 3 years.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
There's a couple of unpermitted home businesses in town, and then there's a place with a bunch of more signs than they're allowed to have. And I came during COVID, and we talked about those, and it was sort of I was sort of given a wait and see on those.
So we got two other issues. One is the sign issue.
And there's two unpermitted home businesses. One is at a place with no home. So it's in a residential neighborhood, and all there is a business there.
Have you began the process of addressing, or?
I've done letters, but I have not issued notices of violation.
Is that?
And I know the place with the signs, someone told me that he throws out registered letters, doesn't read them.
Yeah, doesn't mean we don't send it.
Right. And also I learned a trick is you send a registered letter and an unregistered letter, and they might open the unregistered letter.
they have to sign for the
Registered one.
Yeah.
Well, there's other methods if we have to go that way, but I wouldn't think we would have to. I would hope that we wouldn't have to.
He's going to do everything to.
Yeah.
I think these are three cantankerous individuals. And the question is, do we want to just try another polite letter?
I think we have to file. Don't you file the notice of violation, because the letter just saying that you're in violation is the friendly route, and you got 0, and then you file a notice of violation, which puts them on notice, an official date, I would think. But we're behind you if you're ready to do that. I mean, I'm behind you. I guess I should say I'm behind
I don't
you.
think I do them all at once.
Does the DRB get involved in this?
No.
This is just you and us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if this is legal or not, but I have been told that a drone has been used to fly over private property.
Wow.
And take pictures. And I don't know if it's legal or not, but I hope we haven't resorted to that.
No. I have seen things on, the satellite photos on the cartographic systems website, and
It's public.
asked people. I saw a new deck on one.
Okay. There's an enforcement
Okay.
to this thing, and honestly, I'm behind you. If you feel that there's a violation, send a notice of violation, and if you need help, we back you.
Do you know who he's talking about?
No, and I don't.
Do we need to know?
No, I don't need to know
Okay.
if you file the violation
Well,
and there's an issue, then
One of the people. We're
do we need to
We're
do
pussyfooting
this?
around.
I don't
I know,
understand
that's
why we
why.
need to.
It's
It's not, we don't file the notice of violation, right? He files the notice of
yeah, we're
violation.
trying to.
okay.
You know who that is?
Let me see what you're doing over there. Oh dear. Okay,
Okay. So that's,
my recommendation, and I'll make a motion that we support you in sending a notice of
I just know the
violation.
one. I have the other two. I have no idea about.
So it's best not to know.
Well, we can't help him at this point. You have to, there's steps that you'll
yeah,
take.
I wouldn't do them all at once in case it,
Yeah, you can be a busy boy.
Yeah. But if there are violations, the procedure would call for the issuance of a notice.
And if there's a notice of violation, then if you feel that you need to send it to us, by all means.
Okay.
I think that's more than fair. I don't
Yeah.
think we want to tie your hands for doing your job.
Yeah, and in other towns, I found that even some crazy people, when you start doing fines and court stuff, they will pay some attention.
Let's see what happens when they get an official notice.
Okay.
If you still have trouble after that, I think I think you can come back, but
Okay.
I think the first step is getting a public record, a document going.
Okay.
And a date.
Anything else?
Not for us.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Will.
Would it be, just to come back, would it be too much to ask to just draft those notices?
Sure.
so that we've got a heads up, and then you can tell us when you send them?
Yeah.
Super.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will.
Take care.
Do the minutes.
I just skimmed them. I didn't.
Oh, the only thing I saw,
Yeah.
there was just one where it was, yeah, so I honestly think you could just write it in. Page 2, number 6. There's FEMA twice, and one has an E and one doesn't, so
Okay.
literally that's it, Sean, I swear to God. And I feel nitpicky just even saying it, so. I feel like all federal agencies should have all their ABCs.
I read them on the bulletin board earlier.
See, were you confused because there was no E in emergency?
No.
Okay.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Oh, I move to approve the minutes of the February 27th select board meeting.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Oh, you
So-
have a copy of Robert's rules?
Well, no, not handy.
I've got Robert's rules for idiots, which has really helped me out, and maybe because. Oh, never mind.
I think that's the one I have
Yeah, it could be
somewhere, but it's in a box.
I'll
No, I will pick up a copy.
yeah.
It'll be on my Kindle before tomorrow.
Okay.
Also, there's a select board handbook from VLCT.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore. I called.
Yeah.
I should hang on to mine. I didn't realize
It
how,
feels a little crazy.
I
looked
love that
for
book.
a bunch of information on what to do when you become a new select board member, and there's like nothing. There is a meeting on March 22nd in like the Lake Mooring Resort that the BLCT is
Yeah.
hosting. If you wanted to attend that, I'll definitely forward you.
Are there any spare copies that Kim has? I
didn't
used to
ask
have
her.
2 or 3.
I will ask.
it's a hefty book, Jim, but
It
even
is. I
still.
know. I've got it. It sits right above my desk. I look at it
I
all
look
the
at
time.
I look at mine also. I think
Yeah.
it's great if he had a copy of
Well, Boogie might have one, and then
Okay.
Sandy may have Tim's.
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
It's well worth having at
Absolutely.
your discretion.
Well, welcome to the board, Hallie, and
Yeah.
we'll try not to drive you crazy.
That's okay. I feel welcome and I'm already crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
Check and check.
Right.
There you go.
And we do a thank you for Annie for her years of service.
Yeah. Should we get her some kind of a gift?
I'm not sure. It's like 12 years, like aluminum, or is it
Yeah,
like an
what is that?
anniversary?
I was thinking of a.
Well, there probably hadn't been that many departures like that for long-term people like her
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of a.
Like a picture of the,
Well, I'm
Gift
thinking of a bottle of wine or a gift
Yeah,
certificate.
gift certificate
Yeah.
to dinner. a
oh,
bottle of
something she
wine.
could actually use,
Yeah.
not something to
Yeah.
hang on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love me
Good
room with
point.
a bathroom.
Yeah.
That's where most of my awards end up. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shauna will
Cool.
take care of that.
Great.
And a card, Shauna.
Sure.
I think I'd like to sign a card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to-
Or would the board consider a letter? Like a
Well, we
letter of thanks or you know, for your long service
Arduous.
and all that, something for the scrapbook or something like that. I don't know if she collects. that
I'm
kind
not
of stuff.
sure. I'm not sure. At least a card if you
Yeah,
if
A
you want.
bottle of wine.
Well, no,
Yeah.
she's gonna do a gift of some sort to add to that, but I'd like to sign something just to
yeah.
let her know that we've had this discussion at a couple of our meetings, and so
All right, number 6, selection of board officers. I'll turn the meeting over to Shauna.
Right. So this is my first time, so I just asked.
For nomination.
Yeah. I'm gonna, Ms. Moderator, I'd like to nominate Denny Benson as chair.
I will second that. Do you need a second?
I think so, yeah.
Is that sure you want to put up my grief?
I
We're
can think of
absolutely
nobody
not,
else.
but I'm gonna call the motion before we get too deep into discussion.
Mhm.
All in favor?
I
Uh,
And then a nomination for vice chair.
Who is currently
Jim Linville.
Jim, and
Sorry.
I would nominate him.
You have to say it. You have to say the words.
I have to say his name,
Yeah,
actually his actual
Please.
name. I'd nominate Jim Linville, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
Then any nominations for secretary?
With, are you shaking your head? Let me just announce or point out that the job of secretary does not involve any secretarial tasks, but it does, it's a pecking order if, basically, as far as I can tell, the only thing the secretary does is if the chair or the vice chair are not at a meeting, it's the secretary that runs the meeting if there's a quorum. That's all. So,
Not unlike the Secretary of Defense.
exactly.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm gonna nominate Lisa Ursha.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Linville. It's on.
I know.
Game on, right, Lisa?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Lisa's gonna
Yeah, Jim will pay for that later. It's
hire
fine.
hire a bunch of security guards to surround my
Oh,
house.
yeah.
Kim just
Sure.
sent me a text. She is in the hospital with her dad. If we have any questions about payroll, I can send her a text right
Yeah,
I think we can get through without.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
This is pay order for the guys and
Mhm.
Payroll.
gals.
I looked at it earlier.
Oh, here, you have mine.
Oh, do I have one? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that you
it's,
do.
it's.
No,
yeah,
I
it's
have
right
it.
here, yeah,
Oh, it is.
under the
Oh,
right
okay,
number.
here. Look at you
Okay.
with all your papers.
Okay.
Get in there, get it.
Just tab, whatever it is.
7, yep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I am going to move
Yep.
approval of check warrant report number 5 payroll.
Yep.
In the amount of $10,351.64.
I'll second.
And Howie, that's our usual deal. Somebody just moves it and then we move on to discussion.
That's fine.
Rather than discuss it ahead of time.
Mhm.
Any questions on it?
No, I reviewed it earlier. I didn't realize that there were how many people there were on the town payroll, which I thought was kind of interesting to me. And I see nothing out of the ordinary there. So,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
You sign that one?
This is the official.
Yeah,
Let me get the next one, Jim.
sure. And I'm going to move approval of accounts payable check warrant report number 5 in the amount of $47,891.12.
I'll second.
Is there any questions on it?
Go straight to you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A lot of maintenance items on there.
Yeah.
Town garage. I've got Shauna checking on. Grant. Also, putting together a list of potential contractors.
Mhm.
And one was thrown in late in the, well, not late, but mentioned to pursue. And I guess further south, there's some Amish contractors that do good work. And they'll just move in with their RVs, do the thing for their workers. So she's trying to find some names and stuff. Secondly, we've got two things. We got one of a state highway garage that the construction company, Mount Holly, give us. And then we've got this takeoff that this Brian, I can't remember his last name, give us. And I'll float the idea that maybe we could give the both sketches or information to Alman and Jeff and let them make a list of what they think is really needed at the garage and what they don't think is needed.
Yeah, that's a little strange to me. I don't think that the two people that will probably be bidding on it, we should be using their information to create the scope. So how do we create a scope without using their, I assume that the gentleman from Mount Holly will want to put in a bid. He's been very forward about wanting to help. And then we have the second estimate, which is already in, which then seems kind of weird that everyone knows what his number is. It's just kind of weird. So I don't know if we should use what we've got or if we should ask Alman to just, what do you need? Is that, I know it's a big undertaking, but I'm just.
Yeah, somehow we gotta come up with something to put out the bid.
I agree.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
That's why we're discussing that.
Yeah.
I
feel kind of bad for the guy that turned this in.
Because he was just supposed to give us a real ballpark.
Okay. Okay.
A ballpark, not a real ballpark. He did more than what I thought he was going to do.
That's getting ahead of a request for proposal.
Right.
To use somebody else's proposal as the proposal, I think. Is that it?
Yeah,
I just want to
it's
say.
right in your
You have it.
package.
Oh, it is, which
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is it?
9.
Number 8.
9, I'm sorry, 8. Okay. I was just,
Sorry, yeah.
I'll get used to this eventually. And we don't have anything from anybody else yet, because we haven't put out an RFP, right?
No,
Formally.
we could bare bones it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the information we gave him was the width of the bays,
Right, I
the
remember
width
that.
of the doors, the height of the doors, the front ceiling height, and the clearance we need. And if that's it, I wouldn't feel bad about, soliciting some proposals based on just that. Because we don't have to have, the electrical service, heating,
Yeah.
maybe there's some stuff about a, fireproof door or wall between
separating
the
the new and the old.
existing and the new, right?
could you check with the state and see if they have a booklet with garage designs that they might be willing to share with us?
Or a previous scope
Yeah.
that was used by either another town,
A
Shauna,
proposal,
or
yeah.
I want to check with Ann, or Lango, I take it, garage,
They are.
see if we get some information for that.
And are you thinking, I have some names for people who do steel buildings, or are we thinking wood or a mix, like?
Probably steel, because the insurance is gonna be a lot cheaper on a steel building than.
I don't see any way you could, in good conscience, we could go with wood. You know, you've got the fire issues. If you bang into wood, it just breaks, and metal, it bends, and
Yeah.
you know.
and we plan on going back at some point and going back to the other side and adding
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we should, if we stay with steel or,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's
That's
steel.
my question.
That would be my guess.
I mentioned the firewall, how it'd be simply because of all electronics in the vehicles nowadays, they catch fire so easy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, just to protect the, because the existing garage, is it steel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's steel, but it's got wood.
well, there's
all-
always,
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
inside
on the
plywood.
inside.
there's always
And
plywood.
the
and
ceiling
other
is
kind of-
plywood.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with the
So
fire
Shauna's gonna check on
scopes
state.
and
stuff, and other people put their thinking caps on, and because, you know, here we are, 1st of March.
I know. Time's going quick.
and honestly, if, you know, if the number comes out to be, you know, 500,000 or so, we can convene another town meeting and get approval of it, and I think we will. You know,
Well, it all depends if there's grants available.
right, but if they're not, and we have to go above the authorized, you know, 375.
At the moment, I haven't found any grants available specifically for an addition, you know, in addition, but there's grants for like new salt sheds, things like, if it incorporates like that.
Why don't you send an email to the 2 House representatives and the Senate representative, and see if you can, see if they'll come up with anything.
Good idea.
mhm.
I mean, we might as well reach out to everybody else and see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see where that goes for the next meeting. All right, we need emergency management.
Do need one. So what I was able to find out was, number one, we don't have one. Number two, we don't have an assistant. And there are probably, I would call phases to this, where one person is willing to do the beginning phase, but they want no part of what I'm doing now. Then there's other people who are really good at what I'm doing now that won't be able to go out and document the roads the way that we've been able to. So, so we have a couple of possibilities. I have 2 people who worked on this flood alongside of me. One of which was fantastic with working with like the social services part of it. What do you need? Do you need food? Do you need water? Do you need a dehumidifier? Works tightly.
And some pump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And worked with Neighborhood Connections and Martha Dale and the team from Londonderry. They all were kind of working together. So Allison was a great resource for that. And I spoke to her, and she's willing to be like a co-person. She's not someone who will get in her car and go out documenting, you know, damaged roads.
This is Allison
Deitzal. Daitzal. I might be massacring it.
Yeah.
And her husband, Larry, is fantastic with the computer. So as you know, we got very little feedback. I didn't even know I was going to do it in the beginning. And so we had very little feedback early on how I was supposed to document and what way. I went to Larry and said, you need to build me like a spreadsheet because I can't calculate all this stuff in, per road, per whatever. So he was phenomenal. And he said that he'd be willing to help with that portion of it. We also have a third person that was brought to the table who might be the overhead person. I haven't spoken to that contact yet. But it was Ron and Joanne Prouty's daughter, Alyssa. And so I wanted to reach out to her and just make sure that she understood fully what the job was before.
And is it a paid position?
So, yes, I'm going to say yes.
Because that's the category Z stuff, right?
Right. So everything you do during the flood is
it's
compensatable by
reimbursable.
FEMA.
Yeah.
That's different than a paid position.
Yes, correct. Now I don't know, but I believe that there may be some sort of stipend. I don't know if it's in the $2,500 range. I don't know, that other towns paid theirs just to keep them in the position for the years that didn't flood. I don't know if that's something we've done or not, but it's something that we should look at because
I agree.
So there's so what I did the last week was just generate if we all woke up tomorrow, knock on wood, we don't, but if we all woke up tomorrow and there was a flood, what would we tell the residents of Weston? And so that's what this was generated to do. We have 2 new board members. Annie's gone. Tim's gone. So this was meant to just sort of give us, let's get through the first couple of days and then the select board technically would be in charge. So right now the select board is in charge. We are emergency management directors.
Somebody has to be, yeah.
So it sounds like what you're gonna have is a team, and one will be the hands-on out on the roads doing it. And the second half of the team is gonna be the computer people and
then somebody to kind of just oversee the whole thing. I have to tell you that if I had known A plus B plus C plus D, I probably wouldn't have followed through. The part that I'm doing now is the part I don't enjoy, but it has to get done. So I think when you have more people involved from the get-go, I think it just makes it that much easier to do. And I think Alyssa was mentioned to me because of her organizational skills and the fact that she's kind of gung-ho and will get things done. That was my only thing. So we have her as an option. That's all.
Is there any
no manual?
No,
Is there a plan
manual.
or?
Yeah, there is an emergency plan.
There is no manual on how to be an emergency management director.
No.
But I'll send you a copy of our 2022 emergency plan.
Okay.
It gets updated every bit.
But you're looking for someone to be kind of the overall coordinator for emergency management. Does the plan call for the setup of like an action center?
We have all of, we have that in place. That's all. We won't change anything in our plan. We're just looking for someone to take over to make sure that we know what to do, what the residents know what to do, and what the fire department and the social services and the road crew know what to do.
Is there anyone in the fire department? It seems to me that in the initial stages when roads are washed out and people need to, somebody needs to go and prioritize, who is stranded, who isn't stranded, what roads need to get finished fast. I mean,
that is under the fire department's purview.
Yeah.
They handle that type of thing.
Okay.
Rescues. Again, it's not just one person. So Denny knew of a handful of people that he was concerned about. I had a handful of people I was concerned about. What we ended up doing is, because Mike was in charge of everything, and it's a lot on day 1, 2, and 3. I totally get it. The fire department was handling rescues, if you will, checking on people, you know, making sure, do you need anything? Do you want to come out from your road until your road is put back together? What can we bring you? What can we do? So fire department took that over. Jen Probst had a list. So she merged her list in with what we were working on in the from myself and Allison about lunches for the guys. I think the road crew is key to this. Mostly for us, the work is with the roads. If the roads aren't fixed, the people can't get what they need. You know, there's issues. And I'm not just thinking flood here. I'm thinking
you have to think
power outages or something worse.
Particularly in the winter.
What's worse?
When,
Ice storms.
Ice storms.
Remember, what was it, 8 years ago? We had that ice storm. There were trees all over. Wires down. I mean, it was nobody had any power. It was,
we had power during this last, for the most part, everyone did. But if you take away their internet and you take away their power,
they're mad.
So it's a whole nother ballgame.
Yes. In fact, it was that storm. It probably was 7, 8 years ago. That caused me to get my battery in my house.
Right. And a lot of people haven't, and we do have a list. Yeah, there's a list that we circulated, came from Kim. Natalie had it, that we all kind of used to check on people. And I just kept my notes, because my notes are going to be the only thing that the next person's going to know what to do. I did speak to Alman. I've mentioned this before. Alman feels that the road crew should be the one out looking for damage on roads. Obviously, if you're on a road and you see damage, report it. But it is the things that they found where it could suck up your car, like the hole under the ground could have sucked undermined. It is not a good idea to just let people willy-nilly run out, just go checking roads. Initial day 1, day 2 is identifying damage. And day 1, day 2, they plus another person, I am highly recommending that the road crew each gets a documenter tour to go out with them. And yes, Alman has identified, he did not take photos because his camera isn't great at taking photos. His camera does not identify the GPS coordinates of those damages. Denny and I were driving. I had a broken ankle. I wasn't able to get out of the car. And it's coming back to haunt me now, because they want to know the length, width, depth of every crevice and how far out into the road. And I mean, a lot of things were learned this time that I don't want to happen again. So for a flood, I do believe the road crew needs some sort of secondary person to write down that information. Then we have our buildings, the little school, the town clerk's office. Well, we hope that it doesn't happen, but it potentially, if it's a flood, it's gonna take the same buildings out again if it happens tomorrow. And the fire department, once again, they will obviously dispatch themselves, but there was really good communication. I thought it's just the title is a huge job, and I just don't want anyone agreeing to something and then 5 days into it saying, I'm not doing this, and walking away. It's
I'll make a motion that you approach these people, and if they're willing to do it, we'll lock them in.
But we need somebody for the title. Like that's the key thing, because that's the person we hold accountable for. If we get someone who flakes and the job doesn't get done and we don't meet the FEMA deadlines, there's no money. It's and it's critical that the appropriate documentation is done. So my fear is that if we don't explain it's not a fun job at times, but it's.
Well, we thought of soliciting for members of the town. I know that one of my neighbors, I mean, that was basically his occupation at a university. He was in charge of security, emergency management,
Yeah.
and all that other kind of stuff. But he didn't want to do this either. Okay.
Listen, anyone who's done it
Anybody who
kind of
does-
says,
they-
I don't
they
want to
say-
do it
yeah,
again.
but he'd be willing to review plans or, be on committees or whatever the case would be.
But
He's
he
not
doesn't
gonna
want
be in
to be head
charge.
honcho.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like.
I think if anyone has any suggestions of people, send them to me. I will do my best to explain the process that we've gone through with this incident. The flood thing, I can kind of wrap my head around because we've had two that I've been a part of, but something different, an emergency of a different sort that takes out power and takes out internet.
well, is there a job description, either the town's current one or what the state requires for the emergency manager that can be maybe posted on the website for the town and solicited, just like they did for members of the DRB and the other
Understood.
other kinds of
Absolutely.
things.
I don't see that that's not
I
an
don't know
option.
if there was any response to those. So,
And I also think that just a one-on-one conversation with these people needs to happen. It is not, it sounds good to be the EMD. It sounds good to be the EMDAA. It's going to take a special kind of person to get through that. So
I wonder whether, you could have a sort of an EMD that whose job was ended after 3 days. Because after 3 days, the edge is off, the emergencies have been handled, and now suddenly it becomes clerical. And I'm not sure whether I've got the right times but I'm wondering whether there are several different phases
well,
of this thing,
and I think
parts of
because that's the
phases.
way disasters and emergencies manifest anyway, is that there's a critical phase in the beginning. That's sort of, you need crisis management.
Right.
And then somewhere after whatever, when things die down, you need to have some kind of sustained record keeping, data gathering, all the crap you need to write proposals or whatever the case may be, and to get money from governments. There's all that bureaucratic crap that has to be done.
That's sort of my point, and they require very different people.
I think so, but you can gather people eventually down the road. The crisis management part takes a special person too.
Right. I don't think you can gather people down the road. I think that once the initial, everybody comes together in those first 5 days. Let's just admit. I'm saying that if there's a different type of emergency, it's going to be a whole new plan, because I'm not going to be focused on chasing the boys around to find out what the roads are doing. I'm going to be working on, you don't have power. Oh my God, your food in your fridge is going bad. Let's get you a generator. Let's get you, your sump pump's not going to pump, or you don't have energy, whatever those things are. I
don't have heat.
I think
water.
no heat,
Water.
no water, no nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think
you need to shelter.
so instead of roads and the crew, we're now going to
Right.
residents and those with second homes in the middle of winter. This is not what we want. So I think each emergency is going to look very different, but
They always
I'm
do.
familiar with flooded roads, and that's all I'm familiar with. So I'm happy to reach out to, if you have anyone that is even considering the position. I just would want to talk to them and make sure that they realize that the commitment is not until you get sick of it, or until you don't want to do it, or if you're overwhelmed. It's understandable, but you got to see it A to Z, and that's kind of my red line. A to Z, got to finish what you start. So if you think of anyone, and I'm thinking we got to get a name and we got to get an assistant, but I'm thinking that we should broaden the team a little bit wider too, and that will cover anything and everything.
But these other people would also be volunteers.
They're all volunteers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Until you get to the long-term paperwork, and then that's paid. And I think we ought to consider certainly the long term,
Right.
we have to make it clear that, you're spending 30 hours a week doing clerical work for FEMA, you're gonna get paid.
Yep.
That's really important. And then for the 3 or 4 days or 2 days or 5 days, I wonder whether
well, the EMD
how do you
can,
all feel about
yeah,
that?
the EMD
Paying
can submit their hours. Mike Smilovich was our EMD, and he put time in. There's no doubt. He was with the fire department and he was the EMD. So he was at the fire department cleaning up.
There's logic behind that person being associated with some entity, like the fire department, the road crew.
Common thread.
Yeah.
Michael could have submitted his hours. He told me he wasn't interested. He was happy to do it. What he did, and that he
didn't ever want to do it again.
Right. Well, he's in Florida.
Yeah.
So he declined to submit hours, and basically the same thing with Natalie. We paid Natalie. She was working select board, and if there was an emergency call, then she just took it, and she wasn't asking for anything over and above what her pay was. So it can be reimbursed. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be reimbursed. I'm just saying that I don't know what the policy is for EMD. I suggest that we have some sort of a fee, like $2,500 a year, to have them in that position so that they can read up every year. Things change, obviously. And
go to the annual conference.
Yeah, whatever it takes. I'm not sure what all the rules are. And I guarantee you, if we had a flood in 10 years, whatever we're talking about today won't be pertinent anymore.
No.
But I wanted to give us a start. And because there's new people on, we can't have 10 people going in 10 different directions. So the simple answer was pick one person until we name somebody. I'm happy to be the person, and Shauna was happy to be secondary. We can at least get
started,
the master plan started, and then hope that we find somebody to take it over and give, but if no one else has any other names, then I'm just working with the same 3 or 4 people that
Shauna,
we started with.
I'm not sure, Wyndham Regional or VLCT have any data on what other small towns, how they compensate EMDs? I'd be interested in seeing that.
Yeah. And if they have a description of duties or a job description, that would be useful, particularly for the head.
Right.
Of that.
I was told to go to Vermont Emergency Management for descriptions and.
Right.
I've looked at that.
I know it's pretty vague. Well, the disaster could be anything, so I understand.
So it's a weird.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a problem going back to Falango or even Mike on anything specific that we need to know. But we really just gotta find somebody that we know is gonna stick with it, be in charge, make a better plan than the plan I put out, and be willing to see it through. That's what I'm asking for out of the EMD. So, but until we get that, this one piece of paper is our plan.
Okay.
It's good to have a plan.
Yeah. Nice job.
Thank you.
10 Western Marketplace.
I've showed you the pictures. I had the conversation with Mabel. But Danny, to your point, which the same point I made at town meeting, he owns it, it's his property,
And you did confirm he is not on our buyout list, active buyout list.
He is not on it, doesn't want to be.
We have 2 active buyouts only.
That's right.
Okay.
I did recently just send a letter yesterday. Yesterday to the bad man, whoever. So I did speak with Kim, the bad man property.
Jack Badman, yeah.
Has he's deceased and his old ex-girlfriend is deceased and it is currently her son's property.
Oh, boy.
We have
We don't
care
need
of
him to do it.
address.
Yeah.
I just said like, this is a program that the state's offering.
Yeah.
He's up to date with it. So Kim says sometimes he's a little late with some taxes, but right now he's current, which I think is a stipulation, and I sent him a letter just saying this is a program.
Yeah, if you want to
Here's some
pursue this,
information.
yeah,
Here's my contact.
yeah.
But
And
that's it.
I don't know what his circumstances are, but
Well, I don't want to lose another house if he wants to keep it, I'm like, hey, let's not lose it.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to seek him out to do that, but
I talked about the shortage of housing around. I got thinking about it the other day. I don't think I got them all. But I can name you at least 7 houses that people lived in that have been torn down within the last 10 years.
It's hard.
And not replaced.
Yep.
So, yeah, I grant you there's some new been built. But
Right, but yeah, losing existing housing is because you're losing it from usually.
It doesn't have to be, the buyout
Affordable
that these
stuff.
guys specifically are looking at. There's
Restorations.
There's restoration. There's raising.
They will need help with restoration because I do not believe that one thing has been done to that property since the flood.
Is this on Route 100?
just below Daryl's pawn shop.
Yeah, I know the one. There.
So, so if they need help with what to do next, absolutely. I would hope that we could find some way to help them keep that as a viable structure, but who knows?
Turn it into an Airbnb.
Yeah, the one just south of it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we got the point town officers. You got a list in your book.
11.
11.
I have the DRB would like to.
Let's start from the top.
Okay, sorry.
Let's start
Well,
from
I
the
think
top.
that's the first 2024, 2023.
How about road commissioner?
Road
24?
commissioner. Yeah, Jeff.
Right on the very top.
Yep. There
Oh,
you go.
yes, you're right. Well, I would think we'd already appointed. That would be my position. I'm going to nominate. Well,
Oh, do we do that?
let's
Yeah,
just.
I'm not sure.
Let's just write the names
Write it down. You
one
send
of them.
you send a letter and we'll find out.
Oh, right.
Is that how that where you send a
She
What?
sends it.
notify?
Accept or deny.
What, accept
And
or
then they can
decline?
correct.
Yeah.
Now we can go down development review board, Jim.
Okay, I think, well, I know that the chair would like to have Dan Hannenberg appointed to the DRB. And if Jeff Lennox, I just don't know about him. Would you call?
I asked
Yeah.
someone to review the list. I sent it to Deborah and Deb, both of the Deborahs.
Yeah,
And no one has gotten back to me
okay,
on the current list,
Well-
just because I haven't heard anything from Jeff Lennox and this wasn't changed from 2023, so I just
Yeah.
don't know.
well, let's,
Did Deb recommend Dan
yes,
Hannenberg? So
Hannenberg.
can
So
we
let's
put him in
definitely
as
do
Tom
that.
Foster?
Tom is TBD.
So put him in as Jeff.
Just, Jeff. Excuse me, Dan Hannenberg, and let's, why don't you just check with Deb about Jeff? The only thought I have is that Jeff may not want to serve, but if he's willing to serve, I would assume that she is in favor of
Is there
keeping
a
him.
conflict, DRB and Lister? Isn't he a Lister?
He has Dan Annenberg's list.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking. Oh, there you go, Danny. I went for Lister, that didn't work. So hold on, let me try the other way.
Lister is on one side, but not the
Yeah,
other. And I can't
DRB
remember.
is not on here, so I'm trying to see what the,
Can you be planning commission and?
none of those commissions
Mm-mm.
are listed on here. So
Must not apply.
I don't want to assume that, but let's we'll put him on as a possible, and if there is a conflict, we will. We'll have to ask him which one he wants to keep.
Why don't we leave it that we'll we'll send Dan a letter, and you give Deb a call about Jeff, just find out what is going on, and we'll send him a letter or not.
So we're not sending Tom a letter, is what you're saying?
We are not.
Okay, we move down to the next column. We haven't decided what we want to do with the Conservation Commission. So do we appoint somebody to that, or we leave it vacant?
I think my suggestion would be to give Retta a call and see if she wants to serve. And I can do that.
And then if she does, I'll send her a letter.
Yeah, you and I will talk.
Okay, you got zoning administrator and floodplain administrator, Will Goodwin.
Yeah, I think we ought to
Send him,
read up him, yeah.
Yep.
And then vendor ordinance, Barbara Lloyd.
Absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, she's all over that.
Now we gotta find a replacement, Wyndham Regional Commission.
Well, my question is Kara Halpern, is she ready to step in?
She's been emailing with them. I mean, yes, she's committed.
Okay.
She was committed to helping Tim. So
she knows. I mean,
yeah.
she knows.
Ask her if she's willing to take Tim's position at WRC, and just make sure. I just don't want to bombard her.
What's our current position with regards to that?
We just brought her on a couple of months ago,
just to help
to kind of learn from Tim.
Right.
She said she was willing. Yep.
Yeah.
She's got great.
But she's super smart and she's great. So I think she'll.
For it,
yeah. So Kara, got it.
Tree warden, Ray Mara told me personally that he did not want
right.
that position.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
Do you want it, Denny?
No.
Are you sure?
Rid of things.
No.
Isn't it related to forest fires?
How about that excavator of yours? You trying to get rid of that?
Excavator, I don't own that.
You don't own an excavator? Damn.
I got an old antique backhoe. All my stuff is antique.
Yeah.
Hell, all three of my skidders are older than she is.
They're just getting broke in by the time they're your age. Okay, so is there any way we can look back and see who else had this that might be willing to take it back, or what
does the tree warden do?
That's kind of a $64 question, because I think the responsibilities have changed recently due to the state and their infinite wisdom, and they kind of referee in disputes on trees, like if there's a boundary between you and Lisa and you're saying
my tree, her tree,
right, and
maple tree may matter if whose property it's on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Then one of the stickiest ones is, well, the town is responsible for that tree.
Right. That's what I was thinking too.
Because it's dead, and you guys gotta take it down. Well, that's my tree, it's alive, so when you cut it, I want wood.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Don't you
things
mess
like
with
that.
my
Happens at least once a year, at least.
Absolutely.
or the tree fell and now it's boogering up my lawn. You need to
Yeah.
come get it and get rid of it. So, yeah,
Or
we're not
it's-
making it
it's
sound like a
hanging-
great
It's
job.
hanging off the edge of the dam,
Well,
like the one that's there now.
does
you know?
anybody have any
Yeah.
suggestions for tree warden?
I, when I was going through this,
I don't know
Well, I
anybody
think what
I trust.
we should do is, when we get done this list, at the next meeting, if we haven't had people step up for the thing, we put a list of the positions open in the paper and see if anybody will step up.
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
All right, so we're on senior solutions, or Loretta Murphy.
I think she'll do that again.
I think all 4 of those people
I hope so. Yeah.
will re-up.
Yeah. Who's civil defense chairman?
Will Almond want 911 commissioner if he's not the road foreman?
Let's put him in for now.
Yeah.
Well,
Ask him.
Well, actually, his job will be till the end of December.
Right,
He's gonna semi-retire
Got it.
1st of August and
Okay.
use up his
Oh, is it August 1st? Yeah.
vacation time, sick time, so. So I think we're good for there. If he resigns, we just have to find somebody else.
Mhm.
Regional Technology Team, WRC, Mark Flango.
Yeah, I think you send it out. See if he'll keep those.
Peter Harrison for Greenup.
Yeah, no problem. He'll be
Yeah,
there again.
I'm sure he will.
And
Yeah.
Rusty will too.
Yep.
Well, we signed
We
it.
just did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you gotta get his signature on that letter.
So we need
Okay,
a
we're not-
motion to accept all those we wrote down.
Yeah,
I move we accept the nominations or the people identified for
appointed.
appointed town officers.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Paper record for legal advertising and correspondence.
Because that's the only thing we got, didn't it? What are the options for that? I'm not happy with the Vermont Journal, just because it never has anything about Weston in it.
Well,
hardly.
that may be a good thing. Listen,
Well,
when
I
we
don't
start
know,
making the
yeah.
news, I think that's.
Be careful what you wish. for.
Right.
Oh, always,
What
always.
what are
yeah.
the alternatives? So that's the
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Well,
I don't think
Any
there are
papers
many.
are.
I think this one gets to everybody that we needed to get to. I haven't heard any complaints
Yeah,
about
and
it.
everybody,
So
it gets delivered to everybody.
it does.
So
Yeah.
whether it's in there or not.
yeah.
I'll make a
I'm
motion.
sure if you pay for it, yeah,
Yeah.
it'll get in there.
I'll make a motion that the Vermont Journal is the legal advertising paper of record.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Doing all business. One of the things I've got wrote down here is the fellow who took care of the lawn here last year with our equipment. I don't know if we wanted him to do it again this year.
I thought he did a great job. I mean,
Yeah, any
I didn't
reason
have any
not to?
problem.
No, he just, last year, it was probably a foot high when we got around to get somebody in. He just wanted to be on top of it before it got that high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm-
it's so minimal. I think
Yeah.
if he's willing to do it, I think that we should.
Yeah, and if it heads
Sorry.
south during the
Sorry.
summer, then we'll
Just trying to get scooted.
we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
One of the other things is, Lisa wants a bunch of, cones for the roads. And she didn't give me a number of how many she wants to order.
I didn't, but I did speak to Alman and he told me that it is,
Yes,
that's what he says.
That's his bailiwick. Cones.
I'm begging him to get cones because cones or road closed signs or what do you call them? The barriers to,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
I don't want to get into another bad situation. And we lost a lot of cones. Cones disappear. So
especially if they're not marked
if
up.
he hasn't ordered them
By next
tomorrow,
meeting,
by tomorrow,
okay,
he said, no, he was going to do it. And so I said, listen, I don't want to step on your toes. If you're doing it, you do it. If he hasn't done it by tomorrow or doesn't, I know tomorrow he'll be busy. then I have no problem with ordering them. What we did talk about was ordering them with Town of Weston somehow on them, so that when we see said cones in different towns, counties, or personal
Front lawns.
or front lawns, we can ask for them back.
Or saving spaces in front of the house.
Yeah, no, that's we're
When the
not gonna do that.
playhouse is in operation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
in
gonna
another
yank
year
them
or
all
so.
back.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it was almost at a point where we needed to call the playhouse and ask to borrow some of their stuff.
Well, I
because
have 5 if you need it.
perfect. If they say Weston on the inside, how are you in
You
trouble?
gotta go back.
So let's give Almond a chance to just, he may have already done it.
We've got the money to do this, we should be moving ahead to do it. Generator for this building.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Annie and Chris, she said that they've got 3 quotes, but they're not comparable. And they got Mark, what's his name? I can't remember. He's building consultant who's been working with the library to help evaluate the architectural proposals and do the preliminary costing, etc. He's very good. They want him to go through these 3 proposals and pick one. So I think that's got a life of its own at this point.
I think we need to say that can happen here, but the generator will still work and we will have heat because we're going to keep the backup system.
Yes.
So I say we move forward with this generator. Kim is freaking out. You know, when the river was rising and pictures were floating
Yeah.
at 3 a.m, she said, Lisa, I'm still stuck without a generator. Not that you can still come in and paperwork, but it would be really helpful if you
No, we
had
need-
power. So the only thing was I have somebody that I'd very much like to work with. They're connected with it's Tyler Electric. They're connected with Gary's Generators, who is the repair guru in Southern Vermont. So he gave us a price. He was willing to do it. And he fixed the little schools generator. So I would like to, and Tyler, I hope he still will stand by it, but something Tim Goodwin wanted was the outside light to be fixed out here. And we never got to that. And Tyler said, if Jeff will dig the trench, I will put power to that light, no charge. So I convinced Jeff to dig the trench. And so we get a little freebie in with the thing, but it is something that I am totally open to putting out to bid. I have no problem with it whatsoever. It does meet the criteria. 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 is our limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to go more than 10,000 for a generator, guaranteed.
Generator plus install plus the rack that we'll ask Almond to make. I think there should be a quick scope. And we put it out in the paper for anyone that wants to put in a bid for the generator. I just want to move it forward. I'm ready to do it. Are you?
Okay. Let's roll. I'll move. We
move forward.
We do that.
Yeah.
Move forward.
And we'll use ARPA funds that were previously set aside for the generator for the town office generator for town office. So I think that'll clean up one more item on the list.
And then the next item is, and I don't remember whether we separated this or whether one person's going to do it all, but the septic at Town Garage got put on hold because of the flood last year. And we were going to rehab the bathroom up there. It's pretty rough. And
rustic.
So are we going to have
two separate things, Denny, completely? The person who would put in the septic system is not the person who's going to put in a new sink and a toilet.
Yeah.
I think we need either a plumber for the bathroom. I'm going to call it a remodel. We're going to change out the sink. They want more of a laundry type sink.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put in a new.
Yep.
And I told him no washing parts in there.
And this is where at the
Town Garage.
The garages.
Mm-hmm.
And do they need a washing station for emergent for?
No, he didn't ask for an eye washing station or the
The
portable
shower
shower, but here's the
thing, they
thing,
should have it.
it's so easy to do. Basically you just run a line
Yeah.
above behind your sink and you can turn your sink into a shower so that if somebody got acid or burned or
Yeah,
something in their eye, an eye station is only good for your eye, but the shower thing kind of covers a multitude of things. So
Yeah.
we minimal expense to add that on. And the inside walls need to be just recovered with preferably, I don't know what the material is called, but it's
Water resistant.
yeah, it's like a plastic.
hose down.
Yeah, hose it down or at least wipe it down. It is
Yeah.
covered with grease, transmission,
does it have a gel coat finish on it?
some kind of
like
shiny thing. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
what you see when at like the butcher shop, they did it on the wall so that
Right,
they could just take a
right.
hose and kind of hose it
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
And it doesn't allow petroleum based items to seep into it. So
Mhm.
that would and that was really all it was. Oh, and a new door. They need a door. There's a
Yeah, it's rehab.
it's just a hopefully a simple rehab. But it will change the life over there. And then the septic system will be a separate thing.
So
The
you got-
bathroom is I only came up with like $6,000. It might be a couple $100 more now, but
so
do you wanna-
basically gotta have
I just think we
If
should
we've
find
got
somebody.
somebody who's willing to do it, if you have anyone in mind who can do it,
Just
I think we ought to
Yeah,
go. It's
and
under
then-
the 10
and
grand.
then I want their
Let's
name
just
too.
get it done.
I want their name too, so I can remodel my own bathroom.
oh, perfect. Okay. So yeah,
Just somebody
by the
will
next
come.
meeting, I'll have a couple
Great.
of people and we'll see if
Great. Do we
any
need a
of them-
motion for that? I'm gonna move that we authorize you to
I'll
go
second.
ahead with the bathroom.
in the septic.
And well, the septic we've already,
Well,
just-
you gotta do a scope work and put it up. to date.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sean and I will work on a
Okay.
scope for the septic, and if you authorize me to find somebody to do the bathroom, we'll get the first person
Yeah.
who can get in there and get it done.
Yeah,
I'm
because,
gonna
I
call
mean,
that
we're-
motion. All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
we're in the first part of March and I can't believe people are still spending money up there. Alright,
What does that mean? Are you talking to me? I spend money year round. It doesn't have to be cyclical. I don't stop spending in spring.
I think Denny's talking about big capital things.
but we're gonna need an executive session for personnel. So if you got anything old in the news, Jim?
Yeah, I do. I sent you guys I think I did. I made an inquiry about a water level measuring station outside
Yeah.
the firehouse. I've got it. They sent me back a proposal and I couldn't make head nor tails of it, but basically they said we'll measure the water level outside the firehouse. We'll put some kind of I think what they do is they put a tube into the water and they have a acoustic sensor
Oh, okay.
that
Yeah, I didn't even think it has to be in the water. I think it could be mounted any number of ways.
well and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
And then it's either run off house power or battery with a solar thing, and then it transmits into the firehouse. And then the question is, what kind of infrastructure is in the firehouse to send a text message out to all the firemen? And I asked the this company that's going to be quoting on this, what the firehouse needed. Do they need a landline? Do they need
Right.
cell service? I mean, what do they need? So
Yeah.
that's where it stands. But I think this whole thing, when we get done with it, it's going to be $4 or $5 grand, not that expensive. And we ought to have an early warning system
Oh,
for sure.
They need an early warning
Well,
system. Those are
exactly.
our vehicles sitting in that
Right.
fire station.
And we owe it
so-
to them.
Mhm.
And because I talked to Josh and, he was sort of a little dismissive about it. And, I think we need to just make it happen.
Okay.
So that's my report.
There was one other thing. Oh, state of roads mud season. I'm just going to make a blanket statement. Today, Jeff mentioned today is the worst day of this particular mud season. So I'm not saying it can't be worse tomorrow. I'm saying of the days previous, today is the worst that he's seen.
Yeah.
There is nothing we can do. I don't know, when I was talking to Denny earlier about where to find this information, but we don't have a system for penalizing anyone who violates the weight limits that are put on the road. We just don't. So,
well, and I saw something somewhere with somebody with big trucks or something like that. Somebody was complaining.
We get complaints every day. The other day, Shauna and Kim were just inundated, as was the town garage, on a daily basis.
Okay.
We know the roads are bad. There's nothing they can do. They were on Old Tavern this morning. New material down, packed it all in. Everything was good. Overweight truck on the road. Jeff said it's as bad, if not worse, than it was before.
Wait a minute here. The roads are posted. Each sign has a weight limit for single axle trucks, dual axle trucks, and tri-axle trucks. I'm sorry, I can't remember the tonnage off the top of my head. But
I thought it was 20,000 sticks in my mind, 10 tons.
So I guess we ought to find out what one of them trucks that are tearing it up does weigh.
I guess I don't even care what it weighs. I'm saying that work that was done this morning by the road
It's all
crew
gone.
is gone now.
Yeah.
So we can't police the roads. We can't have someone sit at the end of each road and police them. It's just not feasible.
Mhm.
If we see someone that appears to be overweight, or again, you got to know your business, but we can certainly call them and remind them that the roads are posted and they shouldn't be on the roads, but we don't really have a mechanism for punishment that I could find. More importantly, who's going to do the policing? So we have been getting complaints that people are on roads that shouldn't be on roads. We should be acknowledging that for the residents. They're complaining because it's their roads, and I hear them loud and clear.
Can we ask the people who complained, do you have a plate number? Do you know?
I know
Take a
who the
picture?
truck was. I know who the truck was, and it was the crew that is out cutting the trees along the roadsides
For
Green Mountain Power.
Green Mountain Power.
TTS, I think.
Yeah.
So we do know who it is. Like Jeff said, there was an excavator there. It's not the excavator that's tearing it up. It's rubber tracked or something. Is that what you said?
Well, even if it's metal track,
It doesn't meet the
weight per
right. Yeah.
square inch is nothing.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating that all the work that you do in 3 hours in the morning can be undone in 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon. So
Mhm.
Do we have a time and a date that we could call Green Mountain Power on? I mean, if we have this information, maybe.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we want to chase them other than
Yeah, and then
Send
don't they
somebody-
have work to do too? They're not out there doing it frivolously.
Well, that's true, but
Well, let me throw this into the mix here.
Hmm.
Green Mountain Power has a crew of 60 people they've brought into the area. They had a meeting with the instructors and stuff, and they're gonna rotate the crew out twice this summer. Be in the area till fall. Just clearing power lines.
Mhm.
Now, it goes back to, you gotta be careful what you wish for.
Right.
Because if you call them up and say, hey, you're tearing our roads up and we'd rather you stay off from this and that. So next time you lose power, and they say, well, they kind of read the riot act to us, and we weren't too enthused about us being on the road, so them guys can go to the bottom of the list.
it could happen.
That's why
Denny, but I don't think we have.
Yes.
I don't want to be afraid to enforce our own rules. I don't.
I agree.
This is
Green Mountain
one,
Power,
this is
we're not the
one,
only town with muddy
right.
roads.
And this is one truck. There are others it's not just
Yeah.
trucks. There's other things. There's fuel trucks that are still delivering, and we can't take away, I hear, oh, well, you don't want to take away their heating fuel. No, nobody wants to take away anything. But if it's 20 degrees at 7 a.m., put the truck on the road. It's probably cold enough for you to drive on.
Yeah.
But when you got a tractor trailer going up on Lawrence Hill or Lane Grove
Yeah,
Road
on a bright sunny day when
at
it's
4 o'clock in the
temperature's heading
afternoon,
toward 50.
right? Then you just have to know. So I don't know that there's a policing policy. I'm just saying people are complaining about the roads. It is mud season. The boys have been out every single day patching roads. Also, any road that doesn't have a secondary route is getting serviced, because there's no other way for them to get to their homes.
Sure.
So if you live on Highland View and Hell's Peak is bad, take Johnson Hill. Johnson Hill is fine. I mean, it's mud season, but it's passable.
Yeah.
I was told today there is not one road in the town of Weston that is impassable as of 2 o'clock today.
Mhm.
I'm not saying after the truck.
Yeah.
They mucky it up, but I don't think they just, it's not 100% destroyed. So I think I'm being clear when I say everything is passable. It's not great. This will pass. And in addition to, it is bad because we had all this fresh material put down. We're in every year after a flood, the roads suck. Am I right?
Yeah, because I was seeing over in Ludlow there on Dirt Road, town trucks going along the road. And it looked to me like the trap rock that they put on the edge of the road just and
Right
it
off.
went down.
Yep.
And so, you gotta deal with the situation. People come up here and oh, it's so beautiful and everything. Well, they only show up there in the summer or fall, and they should run a place for 6 months or a year, see what it's like before they go spending their hard-earned money and things.
And not the way it works. You have to learn the hard way.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
school of hard knocks.
It's not our
All
first
right.
mud season, but anyway.
So we gotta go to
Listen,
executive session
Yeah.
for personnel.
Okay, you know the citation for that, right?
Yes.
Go off.
So I'm gonna move that we go into executive session with this.
Recording stopped.
Hold on.